Hello! Welcome to another Made in Brazil. You are our special guest, and now directly from Expo Zebu, again in person. It is very good to know that you are there accompanying us. It is very good to know that we have here many foreigners and many Brazilians participating in our fair in person. After all, Zebu is a passion that moves us. It moves us Brazilians and you from all over the world. So stay here with us. Don't miss the opportunity to participate in our Made in Brazil program and to get to you very important technical information. Be sure to participate every day at the same time on the same channel. We will be here waiting for you with a team of experts to discuss and bring you important technical information about our selection process and genetic improvement. But before introducing this whole team, I have to thank especially Apex Brazil, which is the partner of ABCZ in our Brazilian cattle project, and also MAPA, the Brazilian Ministry of Livestock and Supply, and also MRE, Itamaraty, and all of you who are members of the ABCZ Brazilian Cattle Project, its entire board of directors, and the ABCZ TV team, which this year welcomes us here in its studio. So directly from ABCZ TV studio, I would like to introduce to you the team of our program today, the impacts of Brazilian genetics in the tropical countries of the world. So as I said, we will hear a team of experts. I want to introduce to you to those that are here with us in person and virtually. So let's get started. To start here, Marcelo Guandalini from Alvo Agro. Hello Marcelo, welcome.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Mr. Silvio de Castro from Agroesporte. Hello Mr. Silvio.
Hi, what a pleasure to be here to experience Expo Zebu. There were so many years that it didn't happen. There are so many friends and so many new technologies, and we're sure that we're going to be very happy until the end of the mission to find so many friends and to be able to talk about our work abroad.
That's it. Rodrigo Moraes from ABS. Welcome, Rodrigo.
Good afternoon, everyone, all the audience. It's a very proud moment for us to try to collaborate and to learn with national cattle raising.
Great. And Antonio Garcia Silva Nascimento from CRV Brazil. Hello, Antonio. Welcome.
Hi, everyone who is following us. It's a great pleasure to be here with this group of experts to bring information for all of you.
How great. Henrique Borges from Cindy Castilho. Hello, Henrique.
Good afternoon, everyone here present. For us, it's a great satisfaction to be here in an Expo Zebu. 2 years that we didn't take part. We wanted to show the quality and genetics, and everyone is here today in this big park that welcomes everyone. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much. Now, Thiago Carrara from Alpha Genetics. Welcome.
Thank you, Isi. It's an honor to be here with you, and it's really good to be able to share what we're living here in the Expo with people from all over the world, and to bring everyone in the audience, in the TV, to all of the knowledge, everything that goes on here in the fair.
That's it. And we would also like to introduce you our special guests who are here in our screen. So let's invite them. Starting with Dr. Felix Nathanael from Asa Agratech from Angola. Welcome to our program, Made in Brazil.
Hi, good evening, thank you. It was about time for us to visit Expo Zebu. I missed it, and I would like to say hi for our host, Junior, who has helped us do a lot of things in terms of genetic improvement.
Thank you very much. Professor Fábio Luiz Buranello Toral from the Federal University of Minas Gerais. Hello, Professor Fábio. Welcome. Thank you very much for accepting this invitation.
Hi, Isi, and everyone who's following us. It's a great satisfaction to be here with you. with this team of experts to discuss a bit about genetic improvement.
Very good. Also with a zootechnician, João Cervoni from Brahma Brahma. Welcome, João.
Hi everyone present here, all of the listeners. Thank you for the invitation to be part of this exquisite team of experts that are present in Expo Zebu.
Thank you very much. We thank you. And of course, we couldn't forget to say that we have our master with us, Professor Luiz Antônio Josequian, who is a technical superintendent from ABCZ. Luiz, my master, welcome, as always.
Hi, Isi. Thanks very much for the introduction. And for me, it's also an honor to be here, to be with people that I've known for such a long time. And we're trying to build these bonds with other countries and other regions. So I'm very proud to be here, and I'm sure that I'm going to learn a lot.
Of course. So let's start. We have a lot to talk about, and we have a lot of information to exchange. Stay with us to be close to this information straight from your home. So I'm going to take my seat for us to start our conversation today. And of course, as we had said before, our topic are the impacts of the Brazilian genetics on the tropical countries of the world. This topic is so important for us to have the possibility to envision a scenario worldwide. Until when has our genetic been able to contribute with all of these countries? So I'm sure that many of our invitees have a lot of information regarding this topic, and I would like to start and share this information in two steps. First, let's talk about the zootechnician point of view in terms of productivity and the models of the adoption of this model in the different countries that you are, and the different indexes of reproduction and of meat and milk. And then we're going to go to a second step in a more social and economic context. Okay, so let's start. Marcelo, let's start by speaking about what you can envision in this scenario of the countries that you work with the most and export to the most.
Well, for us who work with export of live animals, it's very rewarding to be here in Brazil because we have the opportunity to make the most of the wonderful work that ABCZ has in terms of quality and selection. And Brazilians are very professional, and they love to carry out the work of selection. So foreigners come to Brazil, a huge amount of animals, regardless of the breed they're looking for. In the Zebu breeds, Brazil has the largest amount of animals that is being improved with very specific works from ABCZ, from other institutions as well, that dedicate to improvements of genetics. And this has helped a lot the development of Brazil, which today is a powerhouse in cattle raising due to this work that has started a long time ago when they tried to get genetic samples from abroad to be able to have the development so that we can export. And we have the great satisfaction that most of our clients that get these genetic samples to other countries, they have an amazing sample and raising their own breeds and having the countries that have bought once, we are sure that we are going to buy again because the quality that Brazil exports is really good. And this work, in terms of our company, we try to provide guidance before the sale so that the breed is appropriate for what the client and the country has in terms of intensification and adaptation. And we are grateful that these clients have been coming back due to the quality that Brazil has.
That is fantastic, Mr. Silvio. It's very good to know that we have a product to be able to offer the world. It's a product that we are sure of the result that they are going to find. And I'm sure that in the African soil, where the majority of the work that you do is there for a long time, you can envision that already, right?
In AgroSport, we usually work, as I usually joke, that we are the express courier of cattle. Our clients come and they buy the breeder and we deliver it. On the other hand, the local companies such as Brasafke, who is there, they provide guidance and the breed that they're going to use up to the complete project. But Zebu breed is adequate to tropical areas around the world. We cannot send it to temperate climate regions because it adapts perfectly to the tropical areas where there are few breeds that are non-Zebu. So all countries that bought once, they bought again. That is excellent. And Dom Bolo can give a testimony, the evolution in Angola.
That is exactly what I wanted to say. So, Dr. Dom Bolo, we would like to hear you and to know about your expertise regarding the Zebu animals and the Angolan lands. So please contribute with us.
Once again, good evening and thank you very much. In reality, the Zebu genetics has helped the improvement of the genetics in Angola, and we have been getting very good results both in milk production and also in meat production. And here in the tropics, it's very hot, there is a lot of rain, and we also have a lot of diseases, but fortunately, the animals have been able to resist this challenge, and we've been achieving a very good result. And if it weren't for the COVID-19 pandemic, our imports would have continued growing and in the genetic improvement here of the animals.
That's good to know. And we are happy to know that our genetics are contributing a lot in your country. And now, Rodrigo, it's your turn now.
In the last 10 years, we have exported to over 17 countries, and there is a constant search in countries that never looked for it, and they were looking for our technology. What we can say here is that what Brazil makes is spread throughout the world with excellence. What we try to do now, and we do with our clients, as most here do, is to show what's productive. And there are projects that we're developing in terms of explaining the Zebu breeding in the Indian market, African and Asian market as well. In Latin America, we're making a very important work in 13 countries here are part of Latin America, and to other regions it's still a bit complicated, even after the changes in the Ministry of Agriculture and the Secretary of Foreign Relations as well. It's hard to export. We need more and more to unite so that we can take this technology to other countries, because it's a matter of changing not only the view of the market, but the quality of these people throughout the world, because in tropical areas where Zebu gets, it changes completely the life of these people, and especially in local industry.
Yes, this is something that we're going to talk about in a little bit because indeed the Zebu is indeed changing the scenario of different countries and different families, and it's important for us to talk about that. But before passing the floor to Garcia, I would like to say that indeed there is a hard work in this development in partnership with MAPA for an opening of the new sanitary protocols for us to have the possibility of sending not only semen and embryos, but also all of that to the other countries. As we say in Brazil, is an and work, is a constant work that requires an articulation method, and we are having a lot of success. Many protocols are opening up, especially in the last decade, but we still have a lot ahead of us to reach you guys on the other side of the world. There is a lot of work to be done because we need to send this genetic with a lot of quality to your country, guaranteeing not only that you're going to receive this genetic with quality, but also with sanitary security. That is our worry. And Garcia, please tell us a little bit about your experience in all these countries.
Perfect. And talking about what was mentioned before, to send this genetic material abroad, it's very important we have a group of experts and technicians that work with ABCZ. It's a group of works for us to do what's best related to Zebu in Brazil and to offer to the market. The market is being growing very fast and it's growing a lot. People from all over the world are looking from our genetic material, and it's so important. And in farms and institutions that work with genetic improvement and researchers as well, it's important for us to go to other countries and visit and see the huge importance that Zebu has in meat and milk that is causing a lot of impact and bringing a lot of benefits. Zebu and Neyloran and many other breeds that we work with have a huge impact in these countries, bringing a lot of benefits for people that came to get our genetic material.
Okay, guys, so let's call our Professor Fabio. Professor Fabio, we would like to hear a little bit from you about this impacts, your point of view about this genetic material around the world.
Brazil has a place of importance in the scenario of genetic improvement, both for milk production and meat as well. We have genetic improvement programs that are very well established and provide conditions for us to identify the animals that are the breeders, and this way we manage to deliver to our clients genetic material of high quality that will be able to meet their demands.
Exactly. It's so important that we have the conditions to more and more be able to offer not only to Brazil but to the entire world what is best in our genetic material, identifying these breeders and making the right conditions for it to reach other tropical countries in the world, which is exactly what you do, right? Henrique, talk a little bit about the work that you do and the scenario of these countries that we export to.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's an honor to be here with so many people that have collaborated directly or indirectly to our cow-calf operation. We have worked 86 years breeding Sindhi breed, and it was only in our family, this breed, where Sindhi went through, be it in the countries around here in Latin America or other countries, it has had a huge impact, both in the milk and the meat production. We exported a few times due to the difficulty, and I thank all the companies that have supported us to disseminate this genetic material throughout the world, especially the semen operations, the breed Sindhi, wouldn't reach this impact that it has nowadays. It has caused a huge impact. There have been reports and data with a technical yield over 60%, and especially in Colombia, the Cindy breed has grown a lot in crossbreeding, and especially for milk production in Argentina as well. We have made the first export to Uruguay with Cindy breed in Uruguay, be it in the milk or production of meat, and in the control of milk. We bring cattle since 2005 for the park, the fair Expo Zebu, and we'll be in Cattle Brazil as well. We want to show data that are detailed in terms of the selection. We're trying to select our animal on feed efficiency tests and showing the efficiency of our bulls. And we took 3 tests and the Penache based on the assessment of young bulls. That is very important to show the potential of a breeder is the Penache. And wherever we go, we want to show the results, and thank God we have been showing the results.
Great. João, talk a little bit about your experience in Brahma Baraúma as well. Talk a little bit about the scenario of these markets that you are working in.
I believe that everyone and the group of experts have given a very good explanation of what goes on what we work with this generic material of the Brahma. The Brahma breed has particularities concerning other Zebu breeds because it's more well known outside the country. Throughout the world. And when we bring this other material to other countries and they get to know this genetic material and people start to multiply, it's a very interesting result compared to what is present abroad, especially due to the many different characteristics that were explained here, which is such as the genetic improvement, adapting characteristics, the selection of the animals, the criteria of selection, the program of genetic improvement, and especially that are adequate to grazing. And it's an animal that is adapted or adaptable and that has superior productivity. What we see abroad is that the material genetic of Zebu in Brazil, especially the Brahma breed, we have a responsibility in taking this Zebu name abroad, and it is impressive the result that we have.
That's good. We are very happy to hear about that. Tiago, please tell us a little bit about the scenario that you work with. You work with numerous countries, and we know that you have a lot of information to share with us.
Yes, AC. Alta is a multinational, and we're not over 90 countries. And within our mission, we want the success of our client. And in many different systems of production, especially in the southwest of Asia, Middle East, Africa, and Latin America, which is the tropical world, we understand that Zebu breed is part of their success recipe for the system to be successful. And when we talk about Zebu, it's a big center of Zebu breeds of very high quality. And it's definitely Brazil. And here we focus on our best efforts to bring the rest of the world the genetic material for the highest quality. Of course, we have some sanitary hurdles and trade hurdles, but wherever we bring this breed, we have a very good success with clients that buy again due to the work that Brazil has been doing. Especially India, which is the main center of Zebu breeds in the world, has shown interest of the genetic material that was developed here in Brazil. Brazil has a very favorable environment, and it has for the Zebu breeds, starting with the technology for more production, which happens throughout the country, but also a system of selection that happens within the farms. Here we have a very good combination of factors. Brazilians are very avid for technology. technology. They like new trends, so they go after these trends and the innovation. And there is workforce that is available to gather enough data to feed database that are very important and throughout the world that are the banks of genetic improvement. The best genetic banks in the world, which are our banks of genetic improvement in the world. And it's this combination of these genetic banks with reliable data, with the use of advanced technology and the genuine interest of the Brazilian population in trying to improve the Zebu breed. That's what makes us to produce here in our country something that we cannot find anywhere else in the world, which is a very good genetic material based on reliable data. And that's why wherever the Brazilian Zebu breed gets in different options, in different breeds that are possible that we have, especially in the crossbreeds, which is the case of Girolando, success is guaranteed through this process that is very serious and that happens in this breed. We see that countries that have very similar production systems, which is Bolivia, Paraguay, Venezuela, and some regions in Colombia, that things are working out, which are basically copying what's happening here in Brazil. But in other countries with their specificities, the Zebu breed is also an option. So there is Central America, Colombia, some countries in Africa in which the Zebu breed fits perfectly because it's selected for very extensive systems. And that's where tropical cattle raising stands out.
Exactly. And for us to wrap up this first round, let's hear from Dr. Josequian, because this topic that you're bringing now, Thiago, right, Josequian, to offer to the world something of quality with a lot of trustworthiness is very good, right?
Yes, and my colleagues that spoke first were very appropriate in their remarks. And as I had said before, that is a fantastic work to bring this material genetics to other countries abroad, and has been perfected for over a century. And that's something that I always remember. In the production of milk or meat, we have the famous trifecta of zootechnics, which is sanitation, nutrition, and genetics. And within these three topics, it's important to highlight that genetics is the only factor among these trifecta that doesn't wear off over time. It's cumulative, and its effects are permanent and cumulative. And the effects to have an improved genetics, someone that prepared it for a cow-calf operation that is in Africa or in Asia. There have been generations of men and animals to get to this level. This genetic material gets there. It doesn't end or disappear in the first year. There are descendants. And this genetics is perpetual, which is different from grazing and prophylactic programs, which have to be done annually. So genetics has this appeal that is very valid, and it's very important, and it's capable of moving the selection process. And as it was mentioned by many people and my colleagues, it's necessary to be careful with the production systems. I thought it was very interesting, the proposal of Africa, Marcelo and Silvio Jr. mentioned also, Rodrigo, to deliver a package, because improved genetics also provides you with a product, but it demands transformation. And I think that we are in the initial stages of our challenge, which is to provide material for the tropical areas of the world. We still need to contribute a lot to it, and I still want to see heterosis in the southern hemisphere compared to the temperature climate. I don't see any reason not to teach the northern hemisphere to use heterosis with the Zebu breed. So in the end, we have the whole world to benefit from Brazil and many other countries as well. Basically, we still have a long way to go that is being made in a very conscious way, not only by breeders in Brazil, Ministry of Agriculture, and the work that is being done by the companies that are associated. And I'm very grateful to see and to participate in it.
Indeed, the challenge is huge, but we do not give up, and we are definitely more and more find better results outside Brazil. Now we're going to have a break for you to get to know a little bit more about the participants of our program, Brazilian Cattle. Get to know them now.
Alta Brazil, market leader in bovine genetic improvement, is located in Uberaba, the zebu capital of the world, and from where at least one of every 3 doses of semen sold, produced or exported comes out. In 2021 alone, there were more than 8.6 million doses. This is how the agro grows and our credibility too.
Get to know Alvo Agro, a 100% Brazilian company exporting live animals, with strategic located quarantine farms loading from São Sebastião and Vila do Conde ports, offering to our clients more options from Brazil's market. Remember, if you're interested in taking to your country the quality of products that Brazil has to offer, think Alvo Agro, solutions that feed the world.
Hi, learn more about CRV. With more than 104 years in the world and more than 50 years in Brazil. Being a pioneer in genetic improvements in the country, we are the largest provider in Latin America, and we have a full portfolio with improving results. Therefore, CRV is guarantee of evolution for the herd. CRV, better cows, better life.
For more than 55 years, we have been working towards a more efficient pasture-based livestock in the Nelore Sand. A herd with females improved by a straightforward selection for fertility, maternal ability, and precocity. We are always looking for bulls that maintain and improve these traits in our herd, producing animals with good temperament, rustic, functional, and productive.
We are here again to continue our conversation that is so interesting. And now we're going to hear from our participants here a little bit about cases of success. Successful cases in several zebu countries, and for me, in my opinion, this is one of the most interesting parts. Marcelo, tell us, what do you have of knowledge of coexistence in these countries with one breed, or a specific country that this breed went to, where you could attest that you had fantastic results?
Well, in Alvo Agro, we use the model of Brazil. Brazil was developed with zebu breeds, with the animals from south to north that were being brought and developed in these areas. So we know that the countries that have low technology, the same animals that developed well here, it will probably very likely that they will develop in these places. Alvo had the opportunity in 2013 to export to an island. Actually, there are 2 islands, St. Thomas and Prince. There are 2 islands in the coast of Africa, and there were no animals back then. They were basically Portuguese colonies. The Ministry of Agriculture of these islands studied here in Brazil, and he had a dream to take the Nelore breed there. So he came to Brazil. We went to a few farms that stood out in terms of Nelore. He preferred Nelore Mocho, and he thought that it was a more tamed animal due to the lack of ability to raise these animals there. So a few people from the Ministry of Agriculture were trained from this country and in handling it, because there were no cattle whatsoever there, and we were very happy. In reality, it wasn't a business itself that was important. For us as a company, it was very important to take Brazilian Nelore, which was Nelore Mocho breed, for these two islands. So it was a logistics work that was very complex, because it was a small airport and it couldn't handle large cargo airplanes. We brought 120 calves selected from the best farm in Brazil. And that made it possible for calves to arrive at that country and for some of the people to develop. And I don't have recent information about that country, but the happiness of the people of the country and the government to be able to innovate and to perform this work was very important for me. And I believe that due to the resilience of Nelore and the climatic conditions that are very similar to ours, and the availability of grazing grass I believe that they are in excellent conditions, because they were very fertile. And I believe that the role of Brazil in helping to feed such a small nation state is fundamental, and we're very grateful for that. And this breed is helping develop this island. I believe that many other countries around the world have the opportunity to look for the Brazilian breed to develop their countries.
Fantastic, right? And thinking that Zebu is fulfilling much more than this mission of producing, but a social and an economic mission, right, Mr. Silvio? And I think that in Africa we can have many cases like this one, right?
AgroSport started in 1986, exporting a type of cattle, Giroland, to the Peruvian forest or jungle. It was a settlement at the middle of this place, and each person got 10 cows, and we had to teach them how to milk the cows, because they didn't know how to do this. We had to break a lot of paradigms, and when we abandoned the project, we delivered it to the population. They were milking 12 liters by cow, and before that it was 1 liter. And the evolution of the cheese and the cooperative that they created was very big. An identical project like this was in Burkina Faso capital, Ouagadougou, and it was a very similar project. They took a lot of European breeds because it's a country that was colonized by the French, and the cows couldn't resist the sicknesses and the diseases, so we started a very similar project. And 3 years we took a lot of people to live there and this cattle to breed, and this project is so successful that we are starting a new project at Don Bolo's land. And probably in Africa, Angola has the largest Nelore cattle number, and we had a lot of problems at the first because we didn't know the types of sicknesses, but with the help of the ministry we could get around these problems. And nowadays there are a lot of slaughterhouses that are working, and I can mention 10 other cases. The Nelore, in a very careful way, you cannot just take this cattle there because there are a lot of diseases in Africa. In Congo, that's next to Angola, we took 2,000 cows, and we had problems in Angola as well, and the volume in Angola was actually larger. There are some sicknesses that are a bit tricky for us, but we have overcome these diseases now. So now Now we have to sell the package. If people cannot have all of the parts just to sell semen, if you don't know how to inseminate it, it doesn't help much because due to cultural traditions, and if there is a situation in Angola, for example, that you don't work for 3 days. So there are cultural particularities, right? Yes, exactly. So in the insemination, if you just think that insemination is the way to go, the need for breeders are the big market openers that we're going to have now.
You must have the same challenge, right, Rodrigo? People here from the semen indeed may have interesting cases.
Yes, we do have AC. In all of the centers, we believe that we are working very hard to develop more and more the cattle raising process in these countries. Two things that I think that are important to highlight are the numbers in terms of exports. If we think about the position that we are today compared to 5 years ago, that is unthinkable. So I do believe completely that we're going to keep growing every year of 10 to 15% a year, and maybe we'll go over 1 million doses that are sold, and that's something interesting that I want to mention is Colombia. Colombia is a country that basically survives from cattle raising, as well as Brazil that lives very with all of different geographic areas. You have all kinds of breeds, all the Zebu breeds, they adapt really well. But we have to take into account that Brahma is the breed of the country. So we are working very hard presenting the Nelore, and we've been going to Colombia for the past 5 years, and the results we're reaping are very satisfactory because breeders, as well as in Brazil, they don't inseminate the way that they should and that they could also, the potential. And when we see the Nelore, people are impressed, as many people have mentioned here. When you take an animal that is a real breeder, that has a huge impact in the production of animals and the raising of animals. And we only consider the Brahma that came from the United States. When we brought Brahma to Brazil and we started selecting these animals, we realized that Brahma, when it goes to Colombia, has a much superior result compared to the Brahma, the American Brahma that is pure. And Nelore, due to the fact that it's pure breed, when they incorporate to their commercial results, they get amazing results. And Marcelo probably mentioned that these people are going to go back to get the new generation of these animals. And something that I'd like to highlight is the Sinji. And ABS has a very strong presence in the Colombian market, especially because there are regions in Colombia that are very dry, like the northeastern area of Agreste. And if you think about Fundación and many other regions, they're extremely dry. Sinji multiplies amazingly fast, so we know that our Zebu breeds, Nelore and Sinji. All of the other ones have space in the Colombian market, and the tendency is that it multiplies like this throughout Latin America.
Right, and I believe that this happens not only for the meat cattle, but for the milk cattle as well, right? You may have a lot of experience with that. Garcia, tell us a little bit about your experiences for us.
Okay, Isi. In CRV, we visit all these countries, especially in Central America, and we see a very good result from our work in using the Zebu breeds, especially when we talk about the milk breed. When we were in Colombia last year, we were in a fair, we see the evolution in this cattle that is connected to milk. So all of the cattle that came, the lineage came from Brazil, its semen and the embryos as well. They have a very good work. These breeders have a very good breeding work using the programs and that they're developing. And something that is very interesting are his numbers, longevity, fertility of the cows, increasing production in Juroland and other breeds as well. And something that Rodrigo mentioned is the Sinji breed. Our numbers of CRV, they are growing very fast in selling Cindy, and the Dutch breed as well, and the Jersey, that are breeds that are bred in this place, and the Zebu importance and with the crossing with other purebreds this is very strong in Colombia, and we see a lot of breeding houses, and they're using the Brazilian genetics. And this is a major improvement that is improving fertility and the biotype of the animals, the quality of the mammal system, and the milk cows that we observe in Colombia are a major improvement. It's very satisfactory to see that we're improving the genetic enhancement both here in Brazil and abroad as well.
CG also does that, right, Henrique?
It's true, Issy. As I mentioned before, the successful cases they happen with the help of the centers and the export companies. We are a cow-calf operation, breeding operation that sees the success in countries that are neighboring, and bull that have been tested here in Brazil. It's fantastic. In Colombia, we went to the National Fair last year, and the search for the Cindy breed and ABS was amazing. And now we can see the calves that are being born. So these are successful cases that we're following in real time. And I believe that in very short time I'll be able to bring data that is very specific, because Cindy is a breed that is growing a lot compared to Nelore. We want more and more to learn with Nelore and to develop our breed, because Saint and Nelore and Unguzera and other breeds, they are amazing crossbreedings, and along with the Dutch and the Jersey cattle as well.
Very good. And Thiago, the experience for you.
Yes, I was thinking about which country to mention, and I reached the conclusion that Bolivia is probably the best example for us to work. And it has more than 50% of PO Nelore in Brazil, and we're bringing to Bolivia genetic material of high quality, and we're also bringing a lot of technique and scientific knowledge, and making our technicians available to carry out technical trips, to go to the farms and local associations as well. And we see in Bolivia an immense gain by using Brazilian Nelore, but also by adopting common technologies that we use here in Brazil, not only when it comes to reproduction, but as like ATF, but we see other aspects as well. And we also see farms that are participating of our data bank here in Brazil, connected to BMGZ and other associations as well, and tracking the genes of these animals and talking about food efficiency and feeding efficiencies. And so Bolivia didn't buy just a few cows. They bought a technology that involves the tropical system, and it brings a lot of the technologies that we use, and they adapt to their system. What we see, it's a significant productive gain, and I have no doubt that Bolivia is going to stand out among the main players, meat producer players in the world very shortly, because it has made a combination of genetic improvement and adaptation to the environment. And we even think it's hard for us to see this pace happening here in Brazil that they established in Bolivia.
Very good. It's very good to know that we can contribute, taking not only genetics but also this Brazilian model of production. I would like to call João. João, tell us a little bit about your experience of Brahma Baraúma, any case of success that you would like to highlight?
Easy. For me, the successful case that is definitely the one that stands out the most is when the student overtakes the master. So I was in Colombia in 2009 trying to get genetic material to add to the Brauna herd. And last year, some people from Colombia got in touch with us through products that we have that we sell in Paraguay and Bolivia, trying to acquire Brazilian material genetic Brahma. So probably the birthplace of the Brahma in America do Sul came to us to get our specific genetic material, especially comparing to the American herd, saying that it is superior, not only in terms of blood and pedigree, especially because the herd of Abrahamas usually comes to America, but we managed to select specific characteristics for the tropical region that are more interesting than the one that comes straight from America. So this successful case is the main one, this answer of the markets from our clients. And this issue of the countries that we try to get the genetic material to develop here now are basically the main markets from Brazil. For example, in Paraguay, we also had a lot of this. They get a lot of our genetic material, and the birthplace and the main center to get this material is Brazil. And this happens not only due to the genetic issue, but all of the apparatus that was created in Brazil with the help of the institutions and the centers, and even by Apex here, and the program that they developed. That is a successful case for me. And it's an example, the Bull 392, there was a bull that started in a program of genetic enhancement, and it was sent to Bolivia, Paraguay, and now it's at the top of the rankings. And this was the bull that Colombia was looking for, and Peru also, and we're just waiting for a protocol.
Very good, João. And of course, Dr. Dombolo must have many, many cases of success in his country to tell us, but we would like for him to share at least one with us, showing how the population in his country was able to obtain of new gains with our genetics, the Brazilian genetics that is developing so well in Angola.
It's true. Two cases I'm going to talk about very quickly. The first one is of a Brazilian that got to Angola, and he went to visit a farm in a place, and when he got into the farm and he saw the amount of cattle around him, he said, and he asked, am I in Angola or am I in Brazil? And we said, no, this is Angola. And there was so much cattle, Nelore cattle in the pasture. There was a very light green, that was very beautiful, and it seemed like he was in the pastures of Minas Gerais. So the second case, it's about the idea that people have that Nelore is an angry type of cattle, and that is complicated to deal with. But here we are having a lot of calves, and the managers of the farms, they deal with the calf, and whenever they take these calves whenever they have to, in a very peaceful manner. And these are cases that we see here, saying that prove that Nelore is a very gentle kind of calf, kind of cattle, and it depends a lot on how people deal with it. So the image of the stereotype that we had, this changed already. We received in Angola many types of breeds of Zebu, Giran, Nelore, Girolan, and two more with Gir than with Len. And we've had a lot here. A lot of success. I'm very happy. I hope COVID-19 pandemic will finish soon, and And I believe that next year is going to be a lot better.
It's very good to know that our work is impacting your country. And I would like to know the comments from Mr. Flavio. Tell us a little bit if you have any cases of success and how do you see all of these other
I
cases that were
think
commented
that
before?
what we have more and more success cases. For us to do this, we have to pay attention to what the market needs, the foreign markets, so the system of productions evolved. Even though there are many similarities between the Brazilian one and the other partner countries, we have to pay attention to specificities, such as the one that it was mentioned about some diseases that are very regional and that we need to pay attention to and offer cattle that it stands out and the conditions where they're going to be raised. The Brazilian production systems fortunately have evolved, and the programs of genetic improvement are more and more modern, more ready to identify the animals that are genetically superior. We realize the partnerships that are growing between partner farmers in the foreign countries and farmers in Brazil, both in the investment in genetic material and the transfer of genetic material to another country, and especially if these programs of genetic improvement pay attention to the demands of foreigners. More and more cases, success cases, we're going to have to talk about in the next fairs. So the genetic improvement is a continuous process, and we have to always try to look for evolutions to try to present a better zebu genetics to the world and Brazil.
Exactly. Just like you said, Mr. Flavio. I think that we are in the right path. We are working a lot, fulfilling our commitments, and Josakian is the one that can tell us exactly what we can do as an entity and what we are developing to support the cattle breeding not only in Brazil but in these brother countries that are here with us, right?
Yes, it's exactly. First, I would like to agree with everything that was said, and it shows something that was very important, which is technology transfer as a package involving the feeding issues and the handling, the nutrition issues that are fundamental. And the example that was mentioned by Diago Carrara, Bolivia, it was a good example because our affinity with Bolivia has been growing for decades. The exchange of technology, and it's continuous. It's very intense. We have a partnership with the Bolivian Association of Breeders, and through this partnership, we have been working together. We have a lot of workforce in Bolivia that is also transferring technology, and I think that's exactly this that makes that's the success case that I know, which is the closest one. And this evolution, and this year we have in Brazil some feedback and Bolivian breeders that come here in our fairs in Brazil. And within this package, you have helped us with the issue of the partnerships and local entities, the registry and improvement. As it was mentioned before, the issue of Bolivia, that is a more consolidated work. We have our negotiations, initial negotiations with Ecuador, Panama, and Well, in this process, to transfer technology so that the genetic material that when it gets to a country, it is received and with the proper handling, proper nutrition, proper follow-up in terms of local diseases, as the doctor mentioned, professor mentioned. And this is the challenge to transfer not only good genetic material, but production system with genetic as the mainstay, which is a continuous work, and it depends a lot on our actions as well as the actions of the importing country. So I think that together we'll be able to meet this world demand, this increase in world demand, but to meet and or food in general. And the predictions are of an increase of 70% in demand. And the only region capable to meet this demand is the tropical region, and Brazil has a place of importance because, as it was said, we have water, land, workforce that is skilled, and we have a land structure that is very well organized, and we have genetic material that is adequate. It truly is, we definitely have now become the breadbasket of the world of food, alongside with other countries that are partners.
That's it. And it's very good to know that EcoSport and everyone is doing their part, that we are working little by little to contribute with these countries, these tropical countries, so that they can produce with quality and that they can bring a better social condition to their population, an economic condition as well, so that they can have better positions, important positions in their regions, and that gives us a lot of satisfaction. As Josequian said, here in ABCZ, we are day by day working with more determination to continue our support work to the Association of Zebus, to help them in their countries, in the international associations. But before we continue, let's make a little break before the next block, just for you to get to know a little bit more of the members from the Brazilian Cattle Program.
No Better Agro Exports.
A country with generous agricultural production. The best of Brazil is transported to the world by Agro Export. Agro Export ships by air and sea. Breeding animals, semen, equipment, live animals for fattening or slaughter. Contact us. Count on the guarantee of the Agro Export brand in your next deal. Agro Export, tradition and trust beyond borders.
Hi everyone, my name is Emerson Ferrari Neto. I'm going to talk about Sabiá and Caiana. Those are two new cultivars launched in 2021. They are tropical hybrid grasses designed for livestock production. They were developed in Badenbroek Breeding Program, the largest private breeding program for tropical grasses in the world. For more information about these two cultivars, access our website badenbroek.com.br. Thanks and see you.
Baguaçu Agribusiness has performed an excellent job in the genetic improvement of the Red Cindy breed in Brazil. After 10 years of investments in differentiated genetics of the country's most traditional ranches, we now have a herd of high genetic value, multiplied by donors like Babalu and Fortuna, besides bulls of national prominence like our award-winning Canary Fiv Baguaçu. Baguaçu Agribusiness is the best of the national Red Cindy genetics in the midst of the exuberance of nature.
Learn more about the quality JLT Tabapuã Farm Água Marinha by businessman Julio Lauri. Animals of excellent genetics with the most desired characteristics: maternal ability, winning weight, weight to sovereign, fertility, structure, precocity, muscularity, and carcass characteristics. JLT Tabapuã, love for the breed.
And once again, we are back to end our program, our show, with a very important part. Until now, we have seen how much our zebu breeds able to support the countries of the world. And what about now? What can we do later? Can we continue having technology to support these countries? So I would like to ask Mr. Josequian to make his considerations thinking about our future.
Thank you, Isi. Well, it's curious that the concept of future is more and more relative. Things are happening so fast that future is yesterday. The demands, they grow, and the speed of information, the traffic of information, it's very fast. Since it's very fast, we have the obligation to consolidate what we are doing in a very, very strong way so that our genetic material is lasting, that will aggregate value to the countries that ask for it. And in order to do this, we need to have the genealogical history and the characteristics of these qualities, and also programs of improvement that are more urgent, that will involve more and more characteristics, invest in technologies such as the genomics, such as the ultrasound technology, and many other technologies that are available to qualify this genetic material and for it to be pure. And also, I think that in a more close future, near future, we have to consolidate these tasks and to increase the number of people, the number of animals in these programs to improve the world production of milk and meat.
Okay, so let's continue fulfilling our mission, right? And I would also like to ask for the final considerations looking ahead. Professor Fábio, please, Professor.
The new characteristics, the more advanced techniques of genetic assessment, and what I have left to say is a way to transfer this genetic material and that is developed here in Brazil in a quicker way to our partners. So we have to work to reduce the lag, the genetic lag, meaning when we identify the animals that are genetically superior, we have to transfer it the quickest way possible, this genetic material, to our partners. This way, they're going to use what's the latest news, latest models, and that's going to be more competitive, and to make our genetic programs more competitive as well. I believe that genetic improvement, and we're searching for the best animals, and if everything is happening the right way within the farms, the best animals are the young ones. So we have to identify these animals as quick as possible and to intensify the multiplication, both in the programs of genetic improvement as well as transfer the genetic material to the operations that produce meat, milk, whether in Brazil or abroad. I think these are some of the strategies that we can develop and we can put into practice to transfer as quickly as possible this genetic material.
Okay, and what about from Brahma Brahmos, your strategy looking ahead?
Hi, Isi. It's kind of complicated to speak after so many experts spoke, but the concern of Abraúna is to encompass all of these concerns that they have mentioned to us. And Professor Fábio, and that's it. The future was yesterday, not even today. So the main concern is not to breed Brahma, and it's to breed Brahma to the world, for the world. and to look at the needs of these countries, what they need, what is going to meet their demands, and to study these countries to see what are the trends, such as in Bolivia, which is in a very advanced degree in this relationship between Brazil. From now on, what do they need? And with this, all of the tools comes that they mention. For us to manage to transfer this as quickly as possible, this genetic material that is very well selected. Examples of Nelore, the Dutch Nelore, and abroad. And nowadays, the genetic material of the Dutch breeder gets to the market in 12 months, I think, 13 months. And in Brazil, a bull will provide genetic in a specific time of that. And we have to run after this, to run after new technologies that will help in the selection with ultrasound, the issue of the genomics and the markers, specific markers for each activity. That is all of the pool of tools that is going to define the future, right? This demand, genetic demand for foreign countries.
Great. Very good, João. Dr. Dombolo, please tell us what is your expectation when it comes to the support of Brazil to the cattle breeding in your country in the future?
As it was mentioned, the demand for milk and meat is very large in Africa. And here in Africa, we have and many demands. And this idea that was mentioned is because this way we shorten the distances. This work of improvement, it's a package, and we also join this experience and the way in the future that is promising. We're going to continue to import Zebu genetic to continue to improve here our herd. Angola is a country that is not so large as Brazil, has a very similar climate or weather, and the challenge is very large. As it was mentioned, the future is ever closer. And the first moment that we imported genetic material from Brazil, it was a long time ago, and now we want to import again to be able to do this work.
And let's move on, right? Tiago, tell me, how do you see Brazil as a supporter through genetics and technology of the future of cattle breeding in the tropical countries?
You see, that is an excellent question. I'm going to inspire Jose Aquino because if future is now, definitely now we have an infinitely better genetic material than we had 3 years ago. Brazil is full in, it has a lot of good selection, and we use genomic as never before. We've invested in many different technologies for many different reasons, for nutrition, for fertility of the herd, for production of more milk, and all of this has arrived now and it's available to Brazilians and it's available to be exported again. And without a doubt, we can offer in the future for these countries a genetic material that is more reliable, that is more connected to modern cattle raising, and that is connected to low costs and more gains. That's basically what we have to offer.
Great. And what about you guys? Tell me, what does Cid Castilho has to offer us in the future?
Well, Issy, our main focus in the future is efficiency. be it proving our efficiency with the meat and in the milk as well, in our test of assessment of the bulls and with the milk control of the milk. And what we need to have is efficiency, because the world now looks for very low costs and trying to meet the demands of everyone. And if we don't have an efficient kind of cattle that can be used for milk and meat, and with the breeding with other zebu and other types of breeds, we don't have anything. We need efficiency. That's our main focus.
And what about you, Garcia? Thinking about the future.
Easy. As it was mentioned very well, our future is actually yesterday. We are advancing and moving forward. What we have to look at is that the future that we see is the pulling together all of the teams with the researchers and associations and technicians and the people who are close to us, especially in the export side. And this is the balance that is important between all of these people to unite and to produce what's best. When we talk about farms that are improving the genetic breeding and using all of the tools that are available in the market, both for associations and ABCZ, they provide us with all of the tools for us to identify more and more a balanced animal that is functional, an animal that is extremely efficient for us to offer to the market.
Very good. Rodrigo, strategies for tomorrow. I'm sure that you have many, right?
Yes, they're very objective. We're trying to thinking about the multiplication of genetic material, and we have methods of genetic material multiplication, and we think we have to think on how to get there. We have the semen that is available in our centers, and we have the embryos and the livestock. So if we think about the international scenery, Brazil is the main player in this market. So it's up to us to have an animal of the best quality using biotechnology as the basis to make it public around the world, because it doesn't matter if we have a very high quality animal if we cannot deliver it to the client. Through the sales of semen and embryos and live animals as well. That's the way to go. And you can be sure that the growth for the next few years is very big. What we try to do is to deliver our friends and clients a more profitability possible, because it's no use to try to philosophize about the possibilities, and at the end of the day, we want profit.
Of course. And Mr. Silvio?
Yes, definitely. It was very well said. The future, Zekia, it's more and more close to us. Dom Bolo, on the other side of the world, is saying that they need our technology, because we're the center of tropical technology. We have the largest herd of cattle in the world, commercial. We have very big companies and international companies that to do this. So, right, Marcelo? Yes, I believe that Brazil has the genetic material, and it's doing its work. The things are going on, are moving forward. Producers are doing it very carefully. They are investing, and it's unbelievable how the pandemic that reached throughout the world and cattle raising didn't stop a single day. It continued improving, it continued inseminating, and also evolving. And ABCZ is on the right path, because after so many years we see the animals from today and the animals from before. There is a very clear difference between these types of animal, and this improvement is going to continue. In our case, the commercial companies, we have the obligation to get this genetic material and guided by the selection of ABCZ and other institutions, and to try to have the best logistic. And my company, both probably Silvio too, we're working to improve the logistic issue, to meet the demand of our clients, and to send our animal to anywhere in the world with the highest quality possible, and with the most comfortable and with good conditions and the welfare of animals, because we have to meet these demands. For an animal to produce well, he needs these conditions. And we count on the support of the Ministry of Agriculture and helping us and asking about our help to create the sanitary protocols so we can meet the needs of these protocols, and we count with Brazilian cattle as well, because for us it is an honor to be within Brazilian cattle, because through the history we see the success with opening of the market, and Brazilian cattle puts and publicizes the Brazilian genetic material, and it's up to us the responsibility to have a very good work and to take the genetic material that is expected of us.
Exactly. And they can continue waiting because we are going to continue bringing our genetic to you guys with a lot of trust, with a lot of potential. It's going to reach your country really soon. After all, Zebu is the passion that moves us. I would like to thank for the participation of all of these experts that are here with us, literally, and I would like to thank especially Dr. Dom Bolo, Professor Fábio, Professor Josaquian, João Cervoni, also Thiago Carrara, and Henrique Borges, Antônio Garcia, Rodrigo Moraes, Mr. Silvio Júnior, Marcelo Guandalini, that really came here to shine in our program and to share with you anywhere in the world their experiences, their cases of success, to tell you that Zebu can reach any tropical country in the world to help and aid in the cattle breeding and in your economy. Thank you very much for your participation. It was a great satisfaction, not only having you here in our program, in our show, but also participating in our Brazilian cattle project. Thank you so much for your companies, okay, for your projects. Thank you so much for the researchers and everyone that was here with us today, virtually. And now, let's get to know a little bit more about the members of the Brazilian cattle.
Conheça mais sobre o trabalho da ABS, a mais completa central de biotecnologia da América Latina. O Complexo ABS conta com modernos laboratórios de sêmen convencional, genética sexada e embriões, para entregar as melhores soluções para o progresso genético do mercado, com padrão de qualidade tipo exportação. A bateria de touros ABS lidera os principais programas de avaliações. Há 80 anos, a ABS entrega soluções e resultados, garantindo o progresso genético, gerando lucro para você.
Get to know us better. At Gujarat Juice, we work with selecting and genetic improvement of milk in Gujarat. We believe that the Gujarat breed is a fundamental tool for the improvement of livestock production in the tropics, in both intensive and double-purpose systems, by offering bulls and cows that are productive, fertile, rustic, and long-living.
Learn more about W2R, a cow-calf ranch dedicated to the genetic improvement of the Brahman breed for 18 years, which recently has also started breeding red Brahman cattle. To produce first-rate meat at a low cost, we seek high-performance animals to meet the demands of an ever more discerning market. Since it is an extremely precocious zebu with a high carcass yield, the Brahman has a lot to offer to national animal agriculture.
Learn more about the quality JLT Tabapuã Farm Água Marinha by businessman Julio Lauri. Animals of excellent genetics with the most desired characteristics: maternal ability, winning weight, weight to sovereign, fertility, structure, precocity, muscularity, and carcass characteristics. JLT Tabapuã, love for the breed.
It was so good to have you here with me, participating in Made in Brazil show. I'm sure that you received in your house many important information, and of course, we want you to be here with us throughout the entire fair, because after all, we have the Expo Zebu finally in person again. and virtually for those that couldn't be here with us this year. We are going to go to you, don't worry, and we're going to take all of the best of the Brazilian cattle breeding for you. So tomorrow we want to be with you again. Don't miss the opportunity of being here with us, participating in the Made in Brazil show. Thank you so much for your participation. Thank you so much for accompanying us in the Casa Zebu, and receive our hug from there. See you tomorrow.